hopefully give you a little tutorial on something to practice while we all have some extra time on our hands. So something that I've seen quite frequently in my yoga classes is people really wanting to do chaturangas, but maybe not quite knowing how to do them properly, or maybe we haven't built up the strength to do them in a way that's safe and efficient. So I'm coming here to you today to give you some tips and tricks to practice your chaturangas, so then when we all can reconvene in a common space, in a studio space together, we can get them going, make them looking powerful and strong. Alright, so what we want to do is first we're going to take our blocks. If you don't have blocks, you can use books. So they don't have to be this thick, so they could be about half that thick would be fine. You just want to make sure that they're almost even, and then nice and stable, they can stand up on their own. And then let's see, what else do we want from the block, or the book? I think that's pretty much all we are looking for. So we're going to place our blocks a little bit further away from each other, and our hands should be able to fit in there about an inch away from our fingertips, and then an inch away from the back of our wrist for both blocks. And then, so this is just to give you the idea of how the elbows should bend, because I see a lot of people wanting to bend out to the side like this, or coming down first. So this is just to give you a visual and an understanding of how the arm is actually moving. So you start in your tabletop. You can keep the toes tucked or untucked, whatever feels better to you. And then we're essentially pushing through with our hands, right? So you're pushing the hands into the floor, broadening the shoulders. So what that means, or what that looks like from this angle, is like we're normally like this. So that's the shoulder blades coming together. What we want is pushing the hands away. So you're really rounding the shoulders here, broadening that back. So that's what that looks like. So we're pushing through the hands, broadening the back, and then we lean forward with the shoulders. So you're leaning forward with the shoulders, staying strong in that core as well. Lean forward with the shoulders, then just bending, letting the shoulder drop down onto the block. And if you did that incorrectly, if you just bend the elbow backwards, then it's going to knock that block over. So that's a good way to practice to see if your arm movement is doing what it needs to be doing. So let's practice that one more time. So push through the hands, broaden the shoulders, engage the core. So it's a slight rounding here. Lean forward with the shoulders, bend, dropping the shoulder to the block, and coming back up nice and slow. Good. Alright, so that's step one. To practice that, go ahead and do it, and we'll come back for step two. Okay, so I repositioned a little bit here. It's not the best angle, but like I said, we're working with what we got. So, spreading the blocks apart, hand goes in between the blocks, 1 inch away from the wrist, 1 inch away from the fingers. Coming into your full plank, pushing up into the hands to broaden the shoulders, bringing the belly towards the spine to engage the core, keeping those hips lifted, so not sagging in the hips, lifting the hips, lean forward with the shoulders, pushing with the toes, bending, dropping the shoulder to the block, and then inhale, just push up, flip the toes, coming into your downward dog. Exhale, upward dog, downward dog. Okay, so now we're moving on to phase 3 of the Chaturanga challenge. So what you can do is you can set both the blocks up so they're about shoulder width apart. Okay, I'm going to set them back here. There's a little lip in the rug right now, so it's a little bit hard to manage without the blocks getting uneven. Okay, so blocks are about shoulder width apart. And then again, we're gonna start in tabletop. Fingers about 1 inch away from the block. And then remember, push through those hands, broaden the shoulders, really round the upper back, rounding it to the sides. Good. And then lean forward with the shoulders. So the shoulders are coming over the fingertips. Elbows bend backwards, but they're not bending down towards the mat. So bending, leaning forward, bending the elbows, letting the shoulders find the blocks. And then you can see that the shoulders and the elbows are in the nice same line. So we're not letting our shoulders drop below the elbows. Good. And then inhale, engage the core, push yourself back up. And then you can just practice those, like do 10 in a row. Dropping down, inhale, pushing up. Exhale, dropping down, inhale, pushing up. Remembering to stay tight in the core. We don't want to arc the lower back at all. So rounding, tucking that tailbone, pushing through the hands, bending, letting the elbows find the blocks, then inhale, push it up. So that's another step that you can take to really strengthen those arm muscles and the core muscles you need to go down into a proper chaturanga. All right, so then the next version will be doing it in a full plank, right? So we're going to bring the blocks. It's a little unbalanced here. I don't think I'm going to have enough space. So let's see. Hopefully it works there. Hopefully I can fully extend. So again, fingers 1 inch away from the blocks. Starting in tabletop first. Pushing through those shoulders. Rounding through the upper back. Extend the legs, coming into a full plank here. So again, bringing the belly in towards the spine, tucking the tailbone slightly so you're kind of rounded here. Leaning forward, so shoulders come over the fingertips. Bending the elbows backwards so the shoulders meet the blocks. Reaching forward, inhale, pushing up, either back into plank or if you want to come down, flip the toes, inhale, push. Just push up to upward dog. You don't have to scoop forward here. So just pushing up, staying strong in those back legs. Exhale to down dog. Taking a break and repeat. Being honest with yourself about where you are is the most important part. Because if you try to push yourself beyond where you're at, then you're not really going to get anywhere. You might injure yourself. And learning how to accept and enjoy where you're at is really what the yoga practice is about. So just finding that for yourself. I hope these tutorials help. Let me know in the comments, and looking forward to doing more. I'm a little tight on space here, so bear with me. And then there's a little, I'm not sure if this is gonna work. All right, let's try it there. Okay, so elbows dropping. I don't have enough space. So bringing the shoulder onto the block. Maybe I'll try to